what he's got. He's got less than 30 seconds to go to make it. The clock is in sight.
Salazar and Beardsley, and Beardsley's closing. Al's running it.
Anything nothing for Los Angeles. They're going for the win. They're going for the win.
Not far to go now. Sal's trying to go by. What a race.
Incredible athletic performances. Got 30 seconds left for world record performance.
The road race of the month, presented by Foot Locker, America's most complete athletic footwear store. Hi, everyone. It may be hard to tell except by the way we're dressed, but welcome to Hawaii, where behind us 10,200 athletes from 49 states and 53 foreign countries are preparing for the 16th running of the Honolulu Marathon. I'm Tony Revis. Welcome to the Race of the Month series inaugural event. Joining me on the coverage today, the American record holder in the marathon, Alberto Salazar, who's looking pretty darn fit today.
Yeah, well, Tony, I'd like to be running the race, but broadcasting the Honolulu Marathon is a dirty job, and somebody's got to do it, so here we are.
Well, out on the street, we got some top international competitors. Who do you think has a chance to win the race today?
I think in the women's race, we've got 43-year-old running phenom Priscilla Welch from Great Britain, or maybe Päivi Tikkanen from Finland, a track specialist running in her first marathon.
How about the men?
Men's race, either Gitamis Shahanga from Tanzania or Bill Reichsnyder from the USA should challenge.
Let's go down where the final preparations are being done right now and take a look and introduce you to the top field right now. There's Kenyan great Ibrahim Hussein, three-time Honolulu Marathon champion and course record holder. Great Britain's Priscilla Welch, the 1987 New York City Marathon queen. Kettering, Ohio's Cindy Welty, fourth in the competition in Honolulu last year. Gitamis Shahanga from Tanzania, one of today's favorites. Johnny Poli from Italy, a 2:09 fifth-place finisher at Boston 1988. The American hope, Bill Reichsnyder, holder of the third fastest time ever on the Honolulu Marathon course. Päivi Tikkanen, Finnish 5 and 10,000-meter record holder. And of the 10,200 starters, 50%, 5,000, come from Japan. Alberto, Honolulu is the only marathon which starts in the middle of the night. It's 5:30 in the morning. That's a half an hour earlier than this race normally starts. What's the purpose of that?
Well, Tony, by starting at 5:30 and sunrise being expected at 7 a.m. today, it ensures that the lead runners, when they cross the finish line, are only going to have to run 40 to 45 minutes with the sun up.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And the gun, and the cannon, and the fireworks overhead, beginning the 16th Honolulu Marathon. 162 starters back in 1973, its inaugural year. Now, these thousands. And we'll be back with action from the streets of Honolulu right after this. Here's a look at the weather conditions. 72-degree temperature, 69% humidity, trade winds blowing 10 to 15 miles an hour. Alberto, assess that.
Trade winds mean that the wind's going to be in their face for the first 10 to 15 miles. There's a pros and cons to that. The pros are that it's going to have a constant cooling effect on the runners. The cons are that it's going to be constantly slowing them down because of the added resistance. In fact, it's probably going to be about 10 seconds per mile slower running into the wind than coming back with the wind.
Okay, let's set up our leaders. That's number 12 in the white, Johnny Poli from Brescia, Italy. Former national record holder of Italy, 2:09 man. Bill Reichsnyder in the red, Williamsport, Pennsylvania. And in the green shorts on the far right, that is Ibrahim Hussein, our three-time champion.
I think I'll find out how it feels on Sunday. You know, I haven't trained the way I wanted to, really, you know, because I took off. And Honolulu Marathon is almost part of me. I think, you know, I came here and I ran great, and I think it's the marathon which gave me some indication that I will be a world-class marathon runner. So I'm coming here because of the relationship I have with the people down here and the race itself. So for me, I don't think, you know, I will see how it goes. I cannot say I'm going there to win.
Hussein was a real gold medal favorite at the Olympic Games in Seoul, but he dropped out with stomach problems and went back to Kenya. Hasn't been training very much. That's the problem. This is Priscilla Welch in the lead, early stages in the women's competition. Dropped out of the New York City Marathon, is a little bit better prepared for this, but how well prepared? We don't quite know. We'll find out as the competition strings along. From Finland, the great track runner, Päivi Tikkanen. A great track runner, but how well prepared is she for the marathon?
I think that I am in good shape and I'm very hopeful about Sunday. I hope that I am among first 3 women.
Tikkanen's been doing 30-mile over training runs in preparation for Honolulu, so she's probably the most focused of the female athletes in the race.
Here's Cindy Welch. She's got about a 2:34 marathon PR, which she set back in Pittsburgh in '87. She was 4th here a year ago. 1988 wasn't a very good year for her, but lately her training's been improving. She's been coming around. She's really pointing for this race today.
But only in the last couple of weeks has she decided that she wants to either compete, much less race. Back up with the lead boys. That's Poli, Hussein in the green shorts, and in the red, Bill Reifsnyder. We are used to seeing Reifsnyder in the lead. Before the 1985 Honolulu Marathon, his first, he rabbited at New York City. And then in the Columbus Marathon in 1988, he again was the rabbit through 15 miles. He's used to being in the lead, but in this race, he plans on going all the way.
I do feel that there has been a void in past years where there has not been a top American marathoner. And I do feel that this race could be a big stepping stone in my career if I could win this race. To win a Honolulu, and with the names that are in this field, I think it could be very, very beneficial. Honolulu hasn't been a race where you're going to have an extraordinarily fast time, but I believe Honolulu has been a breeding ground for people to go on to bigger and better things. I think it's been proven by Hussein's performance in Honolulu and his times here that he has then gone on and run faster and won some major marathons, that if you can run well and you can run respectably at Honolulu, that you can go on and do well in other big marathons.
There's no doubt that Reifsnyder is the most focused of the guys out here. He's been in Honolulu for 3 weeks before the competition, trying to acclimate his body to the heat and the humidity. Alberto, is that a good idea?
I don't know. 3 weeks is a long time. You get acclimated, but a lot of times you're just going to wear yourself down. Here's Cindy Welty. We think she's in 3rd place, but it's hard to tell in the dark here. Cindy hasn't had any recent races pointing up to this, so it's really hard to tell what sort of conditioning she's in.
It may not be saying much, but it's my best condition I've been in since the first of the year. I had been training for a marathon, so I really was doing marathon preparation. I was planning on running Columbus Marathon, and I wasn't feeling very well in my training, was really racing poorly. Went and got a blood test 3 or 4 weeks before Columbus and found out I was anemic. Therefore, did not run Columbus, planned on running Houston, and all of a sudden was feeling well and said, what the heck, I'll give it a go now. It's really hard to judge the shape I'm in since I haven't raced, and especially raced healthy for so long. However, based on my training, I feel really good, and I think I could be ready for a decent time, close to my PR. And I would like to try to win the race. It's hard to predict a time given the conditions here.
We're right alongside the runners here in the lead vehicle, and I'm wearing a sweatshirt, and I feel a little chilled. So for these runners right now, even though they might be sweating, I think there's actually pretty good weather conditions for them out there.
Here we go with the lead men. Bill Reifsnyder in the lead in the red. Johnny Poli from Italy in 2nd place in the white. That's Zach Barry from Tanzania in the blue shorts. And in the back from Paraguay, he flew himself in here last night. This is Brad Nava, a 2:14 marathoner. He paid his own expenses. God knows what he's going to go out there today. But they passed 5 miles, and now they're heading up to Diamond Head. More action from the streets and roads of Honolulu and environs right after this. Stick around. Back at the 16th Honolulu Marathon, I'm Tony Revis along with Alberto Salazar looking at our 4-man lead pack. Bill Reifsnyder, the American hope, in the lead. He's got a personal best of 2:13.14 going against Zach Barry from Tanzania, 2:11 his best. Brad Nava, the unknown in the yellow, he's run 2:14 this year. And in the back, Johnny Poli, the fastest man, at least on paper, with 2 2:09s in his career. We are in the Kahala section of the race at 9 miles, turning onto the entrance ramp to the Kalanianiole Highway, where the race will go out to 15 miles, turn at the Hawaii Kai neighborhood, and come right back down the highway they're on right now.
Here's a look at our 5 fastest finishers of all time on the Honolulu Marathon.
Quite a lineup, too, it is, Al. More than one kind of aid station in Honolulu, not just water. We've got entertainment. Our lead package just past this point.
Here's Bill Reifsnyder again. Although he's been leading most of the race, he seems to run with just a little bit too much effort at this early point in the race. As you can see, he lands heavy. It's as if he's muscling his way through the race rather than floating and conserving energy like Johnny Poli from Italy is typically doing.
We're near the halfway point in the course right now, Alberto, 13 miles. Abraham Hussein, the course record holder, ran 1:03.26 on the way to his course record in 1986. They're running, as we can see through this graphic, much slower this year. The wind, again, is in their face at this stage of the competition. And right now, Johnny Poli, for the first time, seems to be asserting himself. What is this, a testing move? He's looking back. He's doing something here, Al.
He's thrown in a little surge here. That means he's picked up the pace appreciably more than it has been run prior to this time.
And now the question is, how much of this is for real and how much will he just come back, or just is he trying to win the race this early on?
Well, it's hard to tell. Usually at this early point in the race, I think most runners are going to be hesitant to make an all-out break for the finish. He's still got over half the race to run. So he may be just trying to feel out the field and see how strong everybody is.
That's Nava in second, Reifsnyder in third, and Zach Barry on the tail. So the battle has been joined as we move past the halfway point at the 16th Honolulu Marathon, with Poli doing the work. Priscilla Welch now in second behind Cindy Welty, the world record holder in the Masters division, over 40 years of age. She was invited late into this race to replace three-time champion Carla Berskens.
I feel a lot better than I did when I was racing New York, within myself, a lot happier. My hair looks a lot healthier. That was one sign in New York that things weren't right, because it went like straw and stuff like that. And that's back into condition. I feel a lot better within myself. So I think Sunday could be a nice test for me.
She seems to be getting at least passing marks so far, as she's in second place behind Cindy Welty. We are in Hawaii Kai right now. This is the residential neighborhood where the runners take a full loop back to the highway.
Did you see Poli, the veteran, always makes sure he's in front at the aid station so that he gets his water bottle with the special solution in it.
And he hangs on to that bottle for a long time. He doesn't just take a sip and throw it down.
No, by holding on to it, he can make sure that he can sip it very slowly and get as much in as he needs.
Here we see the top 5 fastest women's times in Honolulu history, dominated by Carla Berskens and Patty Catalano.
And here's Cindy Welty. She's got a personal record over 8 minutes slower than Priscilla Welch's. One would think that she's trying to press the pace early in order to discourage Priscilla and try and win the race right from the beginning.
At this point, heading out Kalanianeole Highway, Cindy Welty has got more than a 2-minute lead on Priscilla Welch. Päivi Tikkanen still in third place. This is action past the 16-mile mark. Bill Reifsnyder looking like he's going out the back door, with Brant Nava from Paraguay, the unknown 2:14 man, doing the pace setting, with Poli hanging onto his shoulder.
We've got a contrast in styles here. Nava with the smooth, natural style, and Poli with that mechanized, efficient coach style.
My condition now is very good, and after Olympic Games I stopped I had a big problem in left leg, and I stopped for 10 days. After I began to run, and I ran very well, and 15 days ago I have the last test before this race, and I ran half marathon in 1:04. I ran only in a weather condition very, very cold. And for me, it's been a good test for this marathon.
Well, between that test and this test, Alberto, Poli got married 1 week before the Honolulu Marathon. He and wife Paula are on their honeymoon now. We're married. So how seriously is he taking this race, as now the wind is at their back and Nava is really pushing hard?
Here's Frank Shorter. He's obviously running well within himself. I think he's here more on a vacation, as he actually is about 2 minutes behind Cindy Welty at this point. Here's Cindy. She's still got that swaying motion back and forth, but her face shows that she's not under that much distress, so she's still looking good.
Here's a look at our average pacing through the race to this point. 5:06s in the first part, and you can see even though the race started to break up, they were running slow that 5 miles out the highway.
Nava's in the lead here. After making that turn at 15 miles, they've had the wind at their back, and he's really picked it up. The last 3 miles, he's run at an average pace of around 4:50 per mile. So a really dramatic increase in the pace here.
As Nava's on his breakaway, the veteran Poli is running right alongside, almost dodging the people run on the outbound side of this course, running the shortest possible distance. But I'll tell you, Nava feels great, and when you feel great, tangents mean nothing. We'll be back. Nava for the men, Welty for the women at Honolulu. This is our leader, Brad Nava from Paraguay. An unknown flew himself into Honolulu the night before the competition. And Alberto, after a series of sub-450 miles from 15 to 18, here at the 20-mile mark, he's got a big lead on his way to perhaps a victory.
He does have a big lead, but he's sure wasting a lot of time at these aid stations, which makes you wonder, is he starting to feel the heat and the effects of that fast surge?
This is the view he's got. 10,000 other runners heading out as he's heading home. Fans and competitors. Good camaraderie.
It certainly helps at this point in the race to have all those other runners cheering you on.
Ohio's Cindy Welty. She's been leading ever since the downside of the Diamond Head Hill at 7 miles. How's she look, Alberto?
Well, like Nava, she's making sure she's getting as much water into her as possible.
How about that form? She's starting to sway even more side to side.
One of the first things that happens when fatigue sets in is that the upper body is the first thing to show it. And with Cindy, she starts to sway sideways more and more. But she still looks good. Her face doesn't show a heck of a lot of distress.
Priscilla Welsh in second place. The crowd tells her exactly how far behind she is. She looks good, and she's eating into Welty's lead. And here's our leader, Brant Nava, coming off the Kalanianiole Highway back to the Kahala section where the hula dancers were on the way out. And right behind Alberto, this is Poli. The lead is down to maybe 2 or 3 seconds.
It looks like it's really paying off that Poli was cutting those tangents because he's really catching up quickly now.
Brant Nava took the lead between 15 and 18 miles with the wind to his back coming down through the highway. He averaged 450 a mile for 3 miles and broke it open. Poli came into the competition with his question mark being a balky left hamstring. It could well be that when the move was made, his hamstring, he was afraid of it. He thought it would snap if he tried to go too hard. But he said, as a veteran, maybe this guy will pay the penalty for that hard a pace, and it looks like it's that case right now. Alberto, the question is, what is Poli going to do? How do you want to react to a situation like this where he knows he's catching him?
When another runner's broken away from you and you start to catch back up to him again, the thing that's got to go through your mind is, do I go by him right away in a sudden rush, or do I tuck behind him for a little while?
What would you do? What would you do?
I think that Poli's just going to pull up on his shoulder, and when he decides to make his move, he's going to make it all at once. He's going to try and demoralize him completely so that Nava doesn't even try and go with him.
Nava knows he's there. He can not only hear the crowd, but he can hear the motorcycles. You know darn well he can hear those babies. But Poli is sneaking up on him. He's almost got him in his crosshairs. He's almost like some football quarterback, a veteran, who's got some brand new cornerback because the starter got hurt, and he's going to throw every pass in his direction for the next quarter.
Poli's moving him for the kill, without a doubt. Nava's still been wasting a lot of time at the water stops. Poli is just staring straight ahead and zeroing in on him.
And here goes Poli up alongside right now. Here's the race, Honolulu 16th edition. Poli into the lead, and look at his face right now. It's hammer time. The big leagues, Poli, 2:09:33, a personal best at Boston 1988, under 2:09 in Chicago in 85, and Nava's trying to hold on.
Yeah, this is it right now. This isn't going to be just one little surge for quarter mile or so. Poli's going for it now. He's either going to win the race right now, or he's going to spend every little last bit of energy trying.
And Nava looks like he's doing a good job. He's holding on.
Poli's just going to keep trying to press the pace from here to the finish. He knows this is it. Either this is going to work or it isn't. If it doesn't work, I think Nava's going to really eat him up at the finish.
And here's a look at the prize money. Both Nava and Poli are going for $10,000 for the first place.
Cindy Welty still not showing a lot of pain, but she's starting to have that sort of vacuous, vacant look, which you start to get when the heat starts getting to you. You lose that ability to concentrate and really push yourself. At this point, she's probably just trying to survive and stay on her feet.
And here's 31-year-old Johnny Poli of Brescia, Italy. Married last week on his honeymoon with his new wife, Paola, with a beauty of a race at the Honolulu Marathon. He was bent badly but not broken by unknown Brant Nava of Paraguay at 18 miles. Poli reached into his years of world-class marathoning to pull back the young Paraguayan at 22 and has increased his margin steadily over the last 4 miles. He's on pace for the third fastest marathon in Honolulu Marathon history, and he'd become the first European to win this race, too. We got thousands of people lining the finish line here in Kapiolani Park as Poli stretches it out, looking for a sub 2:13 and the bonus that goes with it. A smile breaks on his face. He salutes the crowd as a wife, Paula, waits him at the finish line. He's come to Honolulu, bad hamstring notwithstanding, to win in 2:12:47 unofficially.
Cindy Welty still looking tough. She's still holding on to that lead that she's had from virtually the start of the race. If she can win this race, it'll definitely be the biggest win of her career. We'll be right back with the women's finish after this.
Here are the men's results on the Foot Locker scoreboard. Poli wins $10,000 with the third best time ever on the Honolulu course. Nava really gave up the ghost in the final 3 miles.
Shahanga and Masang came on to get third and fourth after never being with the leaders early, while Bill Reitsnyder held on for 5th place.
And now deep into Kapiolani Park, this is Cindy Welty from Kettering, Ohio. She didn't decide to run this race until 2 weeks ago, and boy, it's going to be the biggest race she's ever run in her life. Out of the Olympic trials with a hip injury, anemia for the fall, she comes to Honolulu and gains victory. 2:41:52 unofficially. And feeling every step.
The elite level of competition in the Honolulu Marathon has really come up in recent years, but it's still one of the most special people's marathons in the world. Everyone gets a lot of special attention here. If you want to combine a vacation with a world-class marathon, Honolulu is the place for you.
Look at this. Here's our 4th place women's finisher. Get this. Jeannie Ernest from right here in Ewa Beach, Hawaii. 2:48 and a cartwheel to prove it. Here's the Foot Locker scoreboard for women. Cindy Welty is $10,000 richer with her first major title, followed by Britain's Priscilla Welsh, our first 2 Hawaii finishers, and Jillian Horowitz from New York City in 5th. Well, it's only 8:30 in the morning still at the Honolulu Marathon, yet our elite competitors have finished by quite some time as 10,000 more finishers stream across this finishing stretch. Alberto, they started the race at 5:30 in the dark. It stayed dark almost till the 20-mile mark. It really seemed to make for faster and better racing.
Definitely. For the top runners, being able to run most of the race in the dark or without the sun being a really strong factor really makes a difference. And they actually ran the second half of the course faster than the first half, and I think that's probably the first time that's been done in the Honolulu Marathon.
We had a great competition. Nava from Paraguay, a newcomer. Watch for him. Poli, the experienced veteran from Italy, one of the best in the world. Kettering, Ohio, Cindy Welty, certainly the biggest victory of her career. So for Al Salazar on the comeback trail, good luck, Al. I'm Tony Revis. Mahalo and aloha from the 16th Honolulu Marathon. We'll see you next time on the roads. We have this post-race update. In the days following the race, it was learned that the man known as Brant Nava of Paraguay was in fact South African David Seaby, whose attempt to run Honolulu under a Paraguayan passport was actually part of an elaborate scheme by South African sports agents and others to enter 4 internationally ineligible South Africans onto the lucrative American road circuit. Marathon officials have withheld second-place prize money, and the official TAC investigation into the matter continues. Many thanks to the Hawaiian Regent Hotel for their aloha spirit and invaluable assistance in our production. And we'll update you on the Brant Nava case on our February road race of the month, the Orange Bowl 10K down in Miami. See you then.